Searching for the best 16-inch laptop in 2026? Today, we're pitting the beastly Lenovo Legion Pro 7i Gen 10 against the stylish Gigabyte Gaming A16. Watch till the end before you buy, as I'll reveal the ultimate winner. I've put links in the description for the latest prices and deals. If this helps, please like the video. It helps the channel a lot. When placing the Lenovo Legion Pro 7i 16 Gen 10 alongside the Gigabyte Gaming A16, you are looking at two very different interpretations of what a modern 16-inch laptop should look like. The Legion Pro 7i is unapologetically a performance-first machine carrying a physical presence that demands space. At over an inch thick and weighing nearly 6 pounds, its design is dictated by the massive cooling system required to tame its high-wattage internals. It features a characteristic rear shelf that extends beyond the hinge, a design choice that prioritizes thermal headroom over portability. Conversely, the Gigabyte Gaming A16 opts for a business-casual aesthetic that feels much more at home in a professional setting. It avoids the typical aggressive flourishes of the gaming category, opting for thin bezels and a compact footprint that makes it feel surprisingly sleek for a 16-inch device. While the Legion is built like a tank to handle extreme power, the Gigabyte focuses on being a tasteful, understated companion that can transition from a boardroom to a gaming desk without drawing unwanted attention. In terms of build materials, both laptops lean into a premium, sturdy feel but execute it through different lenses. The Legion Pro 7i uses matte black aluminum across the lid, keyboard deck, and underside, resulting in a chassis that feels incredibly robust despite some minor flex under heavy pressure. It feels like a high-end tool meant for sustained use. The Gigabyte A16, while potentially targeting a lower price bracket, doesn't sacrifice much in terms of construction quality. Its matte finish is particularly effective at resisting fingerprints, and the overall assembly is tight with minimal flex across the keyboard deck. While the Legion's weight gives it a sense of industrial permanence, the Gigabyte relies on its clean lines and solid assembly to convey a sense of quality that punches above its weight class. The visual identity of these two machines also highlights a shift away from gamer tropes, though they take different paths to get there. Lenovo uses subtle per-key RGB and a slim front light bar to provide flair that can be easily dialed back, maintaining a stealthy look that hides its raw power. It lacks the sharp angles or loud branding often associated with the category. Gigabyte takes this even further by eliminating almost all external signs of its gaming DNA. There are no oversized vents or glowing logos on the A16. Instead, it relies on a monochromatic minimalist approach. Even the RGB keyboard on the Gigabyte is implemented with restraint, favoring a clean look over the more customizable and vibrant lighting found on the Legion. When it comes to connectivity and port layouts, the physical design of each laptop dictates the user experience. Because the Legion Pro 7i uses its entire rear edge for exhaust, it moves its extensive I/O to the sides. It is a connectivity powerhouse, offering Thunderbolt 4, HDMI 2.1, and 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. One of its most practical design wins is the support for 140-watt USB-C power delivery, allowing users to leave the massive 400-watt power brick behind for lighter tasks. The Gigabyte Gaming A16 is also well-equipped but follows a more traditional layout. It includes dedicated Ethernet, HDMI, and a mix of USB-A and USB-C ports that ensure most users won't need to carry a dongle. While it lacks the cutting-edge Wi-Fi 7 and Thunderbolt 4 capabilities found in the Lenovo, its port selection is thoughtful and covers all the essentials for both gaming and productivity. The physical interaction with these ports also differs slightly due to the chassis depth. The Legion's deeper frame and side-mounted ports mean that cables might clutter the workspace next to the mouse, whereas the Gigabyte's more traditional layout feels a bit more familiar for those used to standard productivity laptops. Both machines offer a high level of utility, but the Lenovo clearly positions itself as a desktop replacement with its high-speed 2.5 gigabit Ethernet and advanced wireless standards, whereas the Gigabyte focuses on providing a versatile, no-nonsense selection of ports that matches its hybrid design philosophy. When evaluating the visual experience provided by these two machines, the contrast between their display technologies defines their intended use cases. The Lenovo Legion Pro 7i 16 Gen 10 is equipped with a high-end 16-inch OLED panel that pushes a 2560 by 1600 resolution at a blistering 240 Hz refresh rate. This screen is designed for those who demand color accuracy and infinite contrast, boasting full DCI-P3 coverage and a peak brightness that makes HDR content truly pop. Its near-instant response times and high resolution make it a dual threat for both competitive gamers and professional colorists. On the other hand, the Gigabyte Gaming A16 opts for a more conservative 1920 by 1200 IPS display. While it maintains the modern 16 by 10 aspect ratio, which is great for productivity, its 120 Hz refresh rate and standard color gamut lean more toward general use and casual gaming. It is a serviceable screen for indoor environments, but it lacks the vibrant depth and razor-sharp clarity found on the Legion, positioning the Gigabyte as a more utilitarian option compared to Lenovo's creator-grade showcase. The disparity in multimedia capabilities extends to the integrated cameras and microphones as well. Lenovo has made a significant push in this generation by including a 5-megapixel webcam capable of 1440p video at 30 FPS. This results in a sharp, well-exposed image that handles varying lighting conditions with surprising grace, making it one of the better built-in solutions for streamers or professionals who frequently attend video conferences. Gigabyte's approach with the A16 is much more traditional, featuring a webcam that is functional but unremarkable. It produces a standard image that suffices for basic meetings but struggles with noise in low-light settings and lacks the higher resolution found in its rival. Interestingly, neither laptop provides biometric authentication like facial recognition or fingerprint sensors, meaning users on both sides are still tethered to traditional password or PIN logins. Interaction with the hardware reveals a significant difference in ergonomics, particularly regarding the keyboard and touchpad layouts. The Legion Pro 7i features Lenovo's well-regarded keyboard design, with 1.6mm of key travel and excellent stabilization. It includes a full numpad and large arrow keys, which are a boon for both data entry and gaming, though the overall chassis length can sometimes make the typing position feel a bit stretched on smaller desks. However, the Legion's trackpad is a point of contention for many. It is relatively small for a 16-inch laptop, and its left-biased placement can lead to accidental inputs for right-handed users. In contrast, the Gigabyte A16 offers a more balanced input experience for general productivity. Its keyboard is comfortable with firm feedback and a spacious layout, but it is the touchpad that stands out. Gigabyte has opted for a larger, centered, and highly responsive surface that feels much more natural for navigating Windows without an external mouse, addressing one of the primary ergonomic complaints found on the Lenovo. Battery life and power management provide perhaps the most interesting comparison, as the two laptops take very different paths toward endurance. The Legion Pro 7i houses a massive 99 watt-hour battery, the maximum allowed for air travel. Yet it still struggles to provide more than a few hours of real-world use when the high-wattage internals are active. It is very much a plugged-in machine, though it does offer the flexibility of 140-watt USB-C charging for those times when you only need to perform light tasks like web browsing or document editing. The Gigabyte A16 carries a smaller 76 watt-hour battery, but it often manages to stretch its runtime further in practical scenarios. This is largely due to Gigabyte's conservative power limits on the GPU and the use of an older, slightly more power-efficient CPU architecture. Because the A16 isn't pushing its hardware to the same thermal or electrical extremes as the Legion, it manages to be a more viable companion for a full afternoon of work away from an outlet, even if that comes at the cost of raw performance. Choosing between the Lenovo Legion Pro 7i 16 Gen 10 and the Gigabyte Gaming A16 reveals a significant divide in how 2026's mobile hardware is utilized, particularly when looking at the raw silicon driving these machines. The Lenovo Legion Pro 7i is built around the Intel Core Ultra 9 275HX, a powerhouse processor featuring a 24-core architecture that thrives on high wattage and intense multi-threaded workloads. This chip is a generational leap over the older Intel Core i7-13260H, found in the Gigabyte Gaming A16, which carries only 10 cores and originates from 2023's Raptor Lake lineup. In synthetic benchmarks like Cinebench, the Legion's Ultra 9 nearly doubles the multi-core performance of the Gigabyte's i7, making it clear that the Lenovo is designed for those who need a desktop-class experience in a laptop form factor. While the Gigabyte remains snappy for general office tasks and web browsing, it lacks the architectural refinements and high-frequency Lion Cove cores that give the Legion its massive advantage in system responsiveness and heavy-duty calculations. This gap in processing power translates directly into creative workflows, where the Legion Pro 7i operates as a true mobile workstation. Editing 4K video or rendering complex 3D scenes in software like DaVinci Resolve or Blender becomes a vastly different experience on the Lenovo thanks to its NVIDIA RTX 5080 GPU, which is allowed to draw a full 175 watt of power. This high power limit, combined with 16 GB of video RAM, ensures that high bitrate timelines remain smooth and export times are kept to a minimum. Furthermore, the Legion's 16-inch OLED panel is a creator's dream, offering 100% DCI-P3 color coverage and infinite contrast that IPS panels simply cannot match. On the other hand, the Gigabyte Gaming A16 is much more modest in its editing aspirations. Its 120Hz IPS display is serviceable for casual design or photo editing, but it lacks the color accuracy and HDR depth required for professional-grade color grading. While Gigabyte does include fast PCIe, Gen 4 storage, and generous RAM, the editing potential is ultimately bottlenecked by the 85-watt TGP limit on its RTX 5060 GPU, which prevents it from matching the rendering velocity found in the Legion. Gaming is perhaps the most visible area of contrast, as the two laptops represent polar opposite design philosophies. The Legion Pro 7i is unapologetic about its no-compromise status, pushing its RTX 5080 to the absolute limit. In demanding titles like Cyberpunk 2077, the Legion can maintain triple-digit frame rates at ultra settings, utilizing the 240Hz refresh rate of its OLED screen to provide a level of fluidity that few other laptops can achieve. Lenovo's sophisticated cooling system, which includes a massive vapor chamber, allows the system to sustain these high clock speeds without thermal throttling, even during marathon gaming sessions. The Gigabyte Gaming A16, while stylish and understated, is explicitly held back by its own power constraints. By capping the RTX 5060 at just 85 watt, Gigabyte has prioritized a quieter, cooler, and more battery-efficient experience over raw frame rates. This results in the A16 underperforming compared to other RTX 5060 laptops that use higher power limits, often trailing by 10% to 15% in native 1080p gaming. For a casual gamer who values a professional-looking chassis that stays silent during a quick session, the Gigabyte is a balanced choice. But for anyone looking to push the boundaries of modern ray tracing and high-fidelity graphics, the Legion's massive TGP advantage makes it the clear performance leader. The software experience also plays a role in how these hardware components interact with the user. Lenovo's Legion Space software is geared toward enthusiasts, allowing for granular control over performance modes and manual overclocking to squeeze every last drop of power from the Core Ultra 9 and RTX 5080. This is a machine that embraces its fans and its bulk to deliver the best possible numbers. In contrast, the Gigabyte A16 relies heavily on its Gigabyte AI suite, which takes a more automated approach to performance tuning. It attempts to find a sweet spot between fan noise and speed, which aligns with its business casual aesthetic. While the AI features for presence detection and audio enhancement are well implemented on the A16, they don't change the fact that the underlying hardware is on a shorter leash. The Legion remains the choice for the user who wants to master their hardware, whereas the Gigabyte is for the user who wants a sleek, quiet companion that happens to be capable of gaming on the side. So, who's the winner? While the Gigabyte is a sleek daily driver, the Lenovo Legion Pro 7i Gen 10 is the undisputed champion. Between that stunning OLED and the raw RTX 5080 power, it's just in a different league. If you want the best of 2026, go Legion. Don't forget to check those links below for the latest deals.